How's it going, everybody? Sebastian here, bringing you a quick look at a brand new book that's just come out for my beloved Star Trek, and that is Star Trek Costumes: 5 Decades of Fashion from the Final Frontier. But before I actually talk about this book, I think I actually need to slip into something a little more comfortable. Much better. Now, as for the book costs $60 retail, but I picked it up for $39 on Amazon.com, which is quite a savings. Now, as for what this book covers everything from the original series all the way through the 2 JJ films. Now, that is all 6 original series movies, that's all 4 Next Generation films, and of course, those series themselves, plus Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise. And that is a lot of Star Trek to cover. That's 50 years. Now, what I've decided to do to show off some of this to you guys is I've decided to pick a few of the costumes that are my personal favorites from all across Star Trek and show those off to you. And that's a lot, so let's get to it. Alrighty guys, here we have the front of the book. Star Trek Costumes: 5 Decades of Fashion from the Final Frontier by Paula M. and Terry J. Erdmann, with an introduction by Robert Blackman. We have the TOS-era command officer's duty uniform up front and center with the captain striping on the sleeves. Then along the bottom we have Captain Picard's 7 of 9, Spock, Worf in his awesome suit from his wedding with Jadzia, and the JJ Verse Uhura in the wetsuit from Into Darkness. And on the back we have a beautiful color photo of one of the Grecian gowns from Who Mourns for Adonis. Absolutely lovely. Then on the inside of the dust jacket, we have the pattern from the JJ Verse films, the Delta insignias inside the uniform itself, and along the front, Star Trek Costumes with the same pattern. Very, very, very nice. So let's pull the dust jacket aside and continue on our journey into this book. Now, I've marked off a few pages because I did mark off my favorite uniforms in particular. There's a lot of stuff in this book. So let's get to it. First off, we have the Mirror Universe uniform. We have the captain's uniform and, of course, Mirror Universe Spock with the sashes, the special collars. Really, really cool stuff. Lovely production photo of them down at the bottom in their uniforms. Then the next set here, one of my favorites. This is Dr. Mccoy's scrubs from TOS. I actually really, really like the look of his scrubs with the black shirt under the collar. Really, really nice. And awesome close-up of his insignia, the science insignia. This is really, really cool stuff. Alrighty, next up, the uniform that was first introduced in Wrath of Khan. We have the captain's insignia here that went on the sleeve and on the shoulder strap. This easily my favorite uniform next to the First Contact uniforms. I love the parachuted pants down at the bottom. Very clean lines. Love the high collar. And again, just really, really nice clear photos. Alrighty, next up, jumping forward into the Next Generation, we have production art, or at least the production designs, rather, of the uniform from Next Generation from Season 3 onward, and I loved this one. I like this way more with the higher collar than with the low collar in the first few seasons. And moving on to the Borg. Now, this was one area in particular. I mean, this is a beautiful photo of the Borg Queen here. Now, one of my gripes is that this book is not a book about the makeup of Star Trek, with Michael Westmore having done amazing work throughout the life of Next Gen all the way through Enterprise. But that's not to say that that takes away from this book at all. There are gorgeous photos of characters in full costume with full makeup on. And 2 is the way some of the stuff is sectioned off in the book, and this is the perfect time to talk about that briefly. Now, Star Trek First Contact was where my favorite Star Trek uniform from Starfleet was introduced, the black with the gray shoulders, with the collars, with the colors, and I'm trying to motion that, but you can't see me, only my hands. Now, while the uniform is discussed, and the creation of the uniform was discussed here specifically on this page with the introduction of Star Trek First Contact,
that really doesn't come back at all until you get into the Deep Space Nine section, where they do show the uniform with Miles O'Brien and his special insignia here from Deep Space Nine, because he was a petty officer and not a Starfleet officer. But we have Kira's uniform here as well. Now, this is easily my favorite Starfleet uniform in all of Star Trek, and I just love the comm badge. I love the sleek lines to it. But I wanted to mention that in particular. There is some strange structuring. Now, the size of the sections goes from TOS to Next Gen. Those are the two largest sections of the book. Then you move into the spin-offs, which Deep Space Nine is the third largest, and Voyager and the JJ-verse movies sort of sharing about the same size. And then you get into Enterprise, which has the thinnest section, but for me had some of the most beautiful costumes. The Suliban, the flight suits from Enterprise, and we'll talk about that, and of course the Xindi costumes as well. Now here we have from Deep Space Nine, Worf's uniform, or his suit rather, that he wore when he was getting married to Jadzia, and we have a nice photo of Michael Dorn and Terry Farrell together from a production photo here, and lovely close-ups of all the ornamentation, the jewelry, the belt buckle. This is absolutely gorgeous stuff, and this is the stuff for me that makes this book absolutely worthwhile. Here's Jadzia's wedding dress, a traditional Klingon wedding dress, very, very nice, and another lovely photo of Michael Dorn and Terry Farrell and their crowns. And that's also a great episode of Deep Space Nine, if you ever get a chance to watch it. And here we go into Voyager here. We have Captain Janeway and the uniforms that were introduced in Deep Space Nine first and used in Star Trek Generations and then carried over into Voyager. We have Neelix, and should be coming up on 7 of 9, and this is the iconic uniform 7 of 9 was first introduced in when she became human, and they also have a great photo of the suit that she wore, Jerry Ryan wore when she was a Borg. So really, really cool to get a look at that. And we also have Chaotica's dress, or the Bride of Chaotica episode, and this is the Queen Arachnia's dress from the episode. Very, very cool to see, and that was an all black and white episode when they did the holodeck scenes, but awesome to see this very cool retro sci-fi style dress make it on the show. And here we go, we're now into Enterprise for a little bit. The Xindi costumes, the Xindi Reptilians, which had these great cages on their shoulders, very reminiscent of the uniform worn by Shinzon in Star Trek Nemesis. We have a great shot here of Scott Bakula in the environmental suit. We have some of the patchwork here, Security Division, the makeup, and the Starship Intrepid construction patch, and the flight suit itself with Travis Mayweather here up front. And then lastly, I wanted to move right into the section that involves the JJ reboot. And there's some really, really nice photos here too. Good cast photo. And I want to move into some of the cool Klingon detailing, because they had some of the more interesting costumes of the film. The helmets worn by the Klingons in both films, and of course the redesigned uniforms. And they talk a little bit here about sort of transitioning from the original series uniform, the dress, into the modern version, which became sleeveless. And of course, some of the more dress uniforms here. And finally, Khan's coat. Now, whether or not you liked the film, and despite my personal opinions, Benedict Cumberbatch is a great actor, and the suit design, the costume design for Khan, very, very fascinating decisions made, and I especially love his collar, which is very reminiscent of the collar that Ricardo Montalban's Khan had in Wrath of Khan on his vest. Really, really cool stuff. And again, the anecdotes in this book, absolutely fantastic. Here is the wetsuit, the Starfleet wetsuit, and some of the production artwork here from Into Darkness as well. There is a wealth of information in this book for costumers or just fans of the series. So thank you very much for watching this, guys. This is a great, great book.
Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy this book if you decide to pick it up. Even if you're a Trekkie, if you're a cosplayer, if you're a fan of costume design, or if this is just for the Trekkie in your life, I don't think this is a book to be missed, especially for the price you can get it on Amazon, and there will be a link down below in the description to that. And beyond that, I would love to see a book series like this continue. I would love the props of Star Trek, the makeup of Star Trek. Michael Westmore's work alone on the series from Next Gen all the way through Enterprise is amazing. And this book does a really good job of not only mixing anecdotes from the production of the stories, but just some insight into the people who made all of this possible. Awesome, awesome book. Please check it out, and thank you once again for watching. And hey, if you like this video, leave a comment down below. I would like to hear from you. What is your absolute favorite Star Trek costume? It can be from all of the series, the movies, animated, maybe some fan films. I know they got stuff like Anaxar out there. They've got New Voyages. Let me know. I want to hear from you. And thank you once again, guys. I will catch you next time. And as always, live long and prosper.